Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday, the 31st of July. Okay, so we're starting looking at the euro dollar first in on a fundamental day in terms of economic announcements looks pretty slim, very low data coming out today. There's some CPI flash estimates coming out for the European region. Aside of that, Chicago PMI later in the afternoon and pending home sales. None of these really tend to give much in the way of a kicker, so let's see how we go from the technicals. Euro, well, it's within one thing I can't take my eyes off is this weekly picture. It's within a smidgen of getting up to that weekly 200. Of course, that's edged down another notch, so it makes it even closer to price action. So there's still that potential for us to see that pop and maybe a drop afterwards. May get a reaction to that. Currently, we've got the weekly pivot not too far below. Didn't quite get up and make a new high on Friday, new weekly high, pretty close on stage. At the moment, it's just tested the daily pivot there and 34 hourly 34 moving average having a bit of a bounce. It has got the weekly pivot not too far below. We'll see what happens post 8 o'clock, but certainly has the potential to probably break that at some point. But as I said, with the weekly 200 above, it just may be a target that with that direct trend that's sort of sitting there that people are waiting to see broken. Now, I could probably get away with putting this trend line across the highs here at this time of the hour. Only 11 minutes to go, so there's a potential, as I say, maybe a break up that side. And look, see how it pushes up. It may take a bit of time. The more time it does, the more likely it'll end up looking a bit like a butterfly pattern. But for now, it's just in that holding pattern, waiting to see which way it actually pushes. Cable not too dissimilar in terms of its pattern. It did make the highs towards the end of the week as opposed to during the earlier part. So here we are. It's still for the daily aspect. Well, we're pushing up right beyond prior highs. They're still sitting in that sort of zone. Again, we've got the weekly pivot below us, which could well be a draw. We're sort of moving that way at the moment, and if we come down to the hour, as you can see, we're just on the daily pivot at the moment, but it's just maybe worth waiting. Again, we've got sort of the potential for it to push up to Friday's highs. Actually, it was earlier week that it did actually make the earlier week. No, it wasn't. It's Thursday. It pushed up and made its highs for the week. Beg your pardon. But that, again, they may come in contact or in target. We haven't really got the same sort of weekly target as the moving average. The 100 is above us, but it's not quite the same draw. So really looking to see how we do at the moment. The short term, it looks a bit bearish towards that weekly pivot. Okay, that's dollar yen then. Dollar yen, well, managed to put a new low in through the earlier Asian session there. Again, it has weekly and daily pivots in this particular case to run to. No real signal here. I mean, the RSI was just drifting along merrily. I was just looking to see if there's any real signal to suggest there's any anything wrong with this move. In fact, it's just showing this weakness of the dollar effectively, but against the yen, a bit of strength there. Currently just running into the 21s. It breaks that 21 area. Maybe it could have a route back to the daily pivot and weekly pivots above. So it's certainly got a decent couple of targets there. It's just looking to see if it gives us a signal for that push up there. Really, it's as I say, it's already broken through Friday's lows there. Tested and found that the support of the daily S1 at the moment. Maybe on the hourly there we can see a slight divergence that sort of kicked in, which is near enough worked off now. I mean, by the time if not already worked off, by the time it got to that daily pivot, it would that divergence probably worked through. Aussie dollar has been the star of most lately. It's been pushing against the US dollar by some way. It's already come back and tested the weekly by the looks of things there. In fact, it's just sitting on it in terms of when you the daily picture looks marginally better in terms of well, it's sort of it's looking like it's trying to put some sort of hammer in. By the time you come down to the 4-hourly here, it already looks a bit of a mess, and certainly it's a mess when you look at the price action, not knowing which way to go on Friday. And well, it started pretty much the same. It sort of shot down. It's had a little push up, pulled back towards the daily pivot. So may need to wait for direction of the Aussie dollar, but nothing clear at the moment. Canadian dollar. I guess with the Aussie dollar sort of just going back to that, the easiest route is to the upside in the main, but I'd like to see that across the markets if that's the case. Okay, Canadian dollar. So I just drew this regression channel, and I quite like my regression channels to see how price sort of comes back towards average. It's certainly making a slightish move at the moment, but got quite a way to do to get back towards that average. It really is really has been strengthening against the US dollar. I mean, we did have an edge of weakness last week, but that soon rolled over, and at the moment it's looking, if anything, looking like it could soften some more here. So short term at least, let's just come down to that hourly. So you've got the daily, weekly pivots overlapped on the here. And really, it looks like we could see a push down towards the lows there. Just a quick look at oil price just to confirm where we are there. So oil's still pushing up a little bit more, almost back towards $50. And as suspected a couple of weeks ago, it wouldn't be long before we got back towards that way when the OPEC and non-OPEC members are talking about reducing outputs and things. The chances of oil pushing up are reasonable, and sure enough, we've had a decent push there back to that zone. So, well, Canadian dollar's benefiting from that, may benefit more if it runs past the 50 mark. Okay, not much else there at the moment in terms of the Canadian dollar. As I said, news-wise, very little out today. That's pretty much it for me. Have a great day. Bye for now.